In this video, I will show you how to set up the Assassin specialization of the Rogue class, including how to set up the actionable features as the character is leveled. While there is a new character wizard available within Fantasy Grounds, it is not yet able to take an existing character and apply the gains made when leveling, although that is being worked on. For the time being, we will need to do this the way that we have been adjusting characters when they level. As we can see here at the bottom of the Rogue class sheet, the Assassin is one of 3 class specializations that is being provided by the player's handbook. However, there are other class specializations that are provided by some of the supplemental modules, and I will hopefully cover those in a later date. When it comes to applying a level on an assassin character, there will be several things that you'll want to check each time you go through and level that character up. The first is to ensure that your hit points and your HD die are actually set correctly. And what I mean by that is that your hit die are going to increase each time you level up, and it should equal the level of your character. So as we can see here, I've currently got this as a level 2 rogue, because I haven't applied the 3rd level to this character yet. And I have 2 hit die here. In relation to the hit points, you're going to get hit point gains, but it should always increase, even if it's just by 1 point. So you want to make sure that that just simply goes up. The next thing you'll want to double check is to make sure that things like your saving throws and your skills actually have an increase applied to them whenever your character gains a proficiency bonus increase. So if we can see here, on this particular class sheet, we gain our first proficiency bonus at level 5, and that's a single point change. And then we gain it again at level 9, level 13, and level 17. As the rogue is one of the classes that has the sneak attack feature, you're also going to want to make sure that it is also appropriately adjusted. So if you look here on the actions tab, you will see that I have the sneak attack ability set up here under the rogue grouping. Currently it does 1d6 die of damage, but at level 3 it's going to do 2d6 die of damage. So you're going to want to make sure that that gets increased each time your character levels. And as you can see, it goes up roughly every 2 levels. In fact, it is every 2 levels past level 3. So you'll get your next one at 5, 7, 9, 11, so on and so forth. One of the other things you'll want to keep your eyes open for is your ability score improvements. They occur at not necessarily set increments within levels, but it does definitely occur at level 4, level 8, level 10, level 12, level 16, and level 19. And what will happen is you will gain the ability to increase one ability score, specifically your strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, by 2 points, or you will gain the ability to take 2 of these particular ability scores and increase each by 1 point. But you're not necessarily limited to that. The reason for that is that there is a third option that will only apply if the Dungeon Master of the campaign that you're going through also allows feats to be applied. And they are a special ability that you as a character can gain instead of the ability score improvement. So you have a choice. But it comes down to if that Dungeon Master is going to allow you to actually take a feat during a particular campaign. Some DMs just feel that feats are just simply overpowered. The next thing that you'll want to look at is to make sure that your features are actually being applied appropriately. Now, by default, features do not drop into your action tab. They go into your abilities tab here, and this will grow, this list here will grow as your character levels up. However, some of these features are actionable, or will be actionable, depending on the feature that you acquire. And what you'll want to do is make sure that you actually take those actionable features and add them to the Actions tab here. And I will show you how to do that in this video. So with all of the homework out of the way, let's actually begin the process of leveling this particular character up through the Assassin class specialization. Now, the first thing that we'll want to do is make sure that we're on the main tab. And the reason for that is it gains access to the area where we want to actually apply this particular level. With Fantasy Grounds, drag and drop is the way that things are typically moved from one location to another. But it also applies to how a character gains their level. It's one of the hardest things to identify because it's not an obvious option. There are 2 ways that you can actually apply this particular level. The first is to always take your base class, and it cannot be the Assassin class, it has to be the base class, and drag that and drop that into place, which I will do right now. And as we can see, because we're now level 3, we are going to gain our prompt for the class specialization that we want to make use of. I'm just going to click OK after I selecting Assassin. The second method is to actually make use of our class and level subsheet, if you will. You open it by clicking on this magnifying glass that sits next to your class down at the end and in between your proficiency and your class. When you click that, this window will pop up. And all you have to do is simply left click and drag this particular level on top of this location, or you can drag it directly on top of this location. Doesn't really matter. It's still going to apply the level and apply your features that you're going to gain, increase your hit points, so on and so forth. So with that in mind, let's continue with what happened when we applied level 3. So with level 3, our hit points have gone up. They were 17 prior to our application of level 3. And our hit die have also increased, so we now have an equal number of hit die. We did not gain any proficiency bonus, so it's still +2. Therefore, none of our saving throws that are selected here as being proficient have gone up. And none of our abilities, our skills, have increased in any way, shape, or form. We have gained a couple of abilities, but I will take a look at those in a particular moment. The reason for that is I want to focus on this sneak attack adjustment that we had applied first, and that is under the Actions tab. What I want to do is make sure that we are now doing 2 die 6 of actual bonus damage, if you will, as opposed to 1 die 6. I can make that adjustment by simply clicking on this magnifying glass. If you do not see that, make sure to click on this magnifying glass to expand out the effect sheet. Edit that by clicking on this magnifying glass and simply go into this particular text field and change the 1 to a 2. And that's all you have to do to make that adjustment. Unfortunately, there is no automated way for this system to be able to figure that out for some reason. And what I mean by that is if you look at the actual class sheet, essentially it's half the level in number of die that you're rolling. Almost. I mean, when you hit a 19, if you divide that by 2, you're getting a 9.5. Well, 9.5 rounded up equals 10. Okay, so is there a way that we can have a roundup feature? And then we can just actually set up a quote-unquote algorithm that automatically is able to determine how much damage this is going to apply, and you don't have to worry about adjusting it. Sadly, that doesn't exist just yet, but it would be nice if it did. But I digress. In relation to the actual features that we've gained, they're specific to the Assassin class, and you can tell by the fact that it's a roguish archetype that we actually gained here as opposed to a specific feature, if you will. And there are 2 that we have acquired, Assassinate and this bonus proficiencies one. The bonus proficiencies gain here, or a feature, if you will, is that you are now proficient with the Disguise Kit and the Poisoner's Kit. And what that means is that all you have to do is actually go into your Abilities tab here and make an adjustment to this particular Proficiencies section. And we can do that by clicking on Edit List here, click on Add Item, and do that twice. Click on this Stop Editing, and then just simply put in, let's see, Disguise Kit, Tool, Disguise Kit, and then to have that apply the way that I did, I just used the down arrow so that I didn't actually hit Enter. And the reason why, and I'll show you why in a second, is that it will apply a new line here. Because I've already added both, I don't need to do that. So this is a Tool and Poisoner's Kit. Now if I hit Enter here, you'll see that it created a new line. Well, I don't want that, so I'm just going to go in and delete that. Unfortunately, however, that doesn't mean that you actually acquire those kits. You just can use them at this point. So throughout the process of your campaign, your player has to get to a particular shop that's going to carry those, which could theoretically be a side adventure, if you will. And then you either have to purchase it or steal it if it's a side adventure, or to find it if it's a side adventure, or something along those particular lines. The next feature you're going to gain is the Assassinate feature. And you get 2 things with this. One, you're going to gain an advantage on any attack roll you make against a creature that has not yet taken their turn. So if your initiative is 15 and there are 3 creatures below you that have an initiative lower than 11, you can attack one of those 3 creatures with advantage and gain that. In addition to that, if you successfully surprise a particular creature or character that you're attacking, you will score a critical hit. Now, in a way, this is kind of actionable, but it's really just a role-playing actionable. So, as a DM, I would ask you to add that to your particular character sheet. Group it under the Assassin category. So, Assassin. Yep, that's an A, not an I. And when you actually go and make use of it, just simply click it so that it pops up here to indicate to the DM that you're making use of that particular feature. And if they have a question about it, just simply drag the thing over so that they can read the content. That way they don't have to go looking for it. And that completes the process of double checking what we had gained when we actually applied level 3. So let's take a look at level 4. Now I'm going to go back to the main page. In the location between our class and our proficiency bonus is this magnifying glass. I'm going to click that to open that up. So you don't always have to leave your class sheet open or your specialization sheet open all of the time. You can get back to both simply by clicking on this. This will load your class sheet, and then you scroll back down to the bottom to get your specialization sheet. In this case, I'm going to drag the icon from this particular subsheet, and I'm just going to drop it on here, just to show you that that does in fact work. As usual, there are a couple of things we'll want to double check. Our hit points have gone up, which is good. Our hit die have gone up, which is good. We have not yet gained any proficiency bonus, and our sneak attack has not had an increase in its attack die. That doesn't happen until the 5th level. Now, having said that, we did gain our first ability score improvement. So what does that actually mean? Well, in this case, what it means is that I can take one of these ability scores and increase it by 2 points, take 2 ability scores and increase it by 1 point, or I can take a feature, and I will do all 3 in these particular videos. But there's a point of discussion that I want to make here in this particular change. And that is that there is a restriction to how high you can do this. So according to the rules of D&D, you cannot increase an ability score past 20. Okay? What that means is that if the base score is less than 20, you can increase it. If it is higher than 20 or equal to 20, you cannot. Generally, the only way to get an ability score above 20 itself is to have a magical item that increases that value. So let's say, for example, with this particular character, and it's similar to an example I used in a previous video, let's say I had a ring of +3 that modifies my dexterity, giving me 3 additional points in my dexterity. That would raise my dexterity up to a level of 20. And a magically modified ability should have a different color in its ability score. I think it's green if I'm not mistaken. However, the base value is still 17. So I could actually take the 2 points that I want to be able to apply to it and make that adjustment and not violate the rules of D&D. And what I mean by that is that because a magical item is raising my dexterity up to 20, but the base value is still 17, I can add those 2 points, push my total combined value of my dexterity up to 22, but my base value only went from 17 to 19. Okay, and that's what I will do in this case. So I'm going to raise this 2, and we'll see that there has been a couple of adjustments. Our armor class has changed. We did have an adjustment to our dexterity saving throw. It went up by 1 point, and that's because we gained a particular point here when I applied those 2 points here. In addition, some of our skills will have also adjusted. Anything that had a dexterity value would have increased in its proficiency. And that is inclusive is the acrobatics one, our sleight of hand has gone up, and the stealth one. In relation to level 4, that is all the adjustments that we had to deal with. So I'm going to go and set up level 5. I'm going to just simply drag this over and drop it into place. Now in this case, we have gained Uncanny Dodge. We have also gained our next sneak attack die, and we have had an increase in our proficiency bonus. So you can see here our proficiency bonus has gone up. We did gain our hit points and our hit die. Our dexterity saving throw has gone up because we're proficient in that particular saving throw. In addition, our intelligence went up by 1 point. Finally, we had another increase in all of these particular skill points that we're proficient in. Okay, so what about Uncanny Dodge? Well, Uncanny Dodge will land under our features section here, so we'll just open that up and bring that over to here. Okay, when an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to have the attack's damage against you. Excellent. So, this isn't 100% actionable, but it is something a Dungeon Master is going to want to be notified of. So I'm going to drag that into place, and it's a rogue feature, so I'm going to make sure it goes under the rogue grouping. And then now, if I get hit by a particular NPC that a Dungeon Master has thrown at me, I can now say, I'm going to use Uncanny Dodge to have the damage. And I'm just going to click that to notify the DM that I'm using that. If they ask a question about it, drag and drop it. And that is everything for level 5. So let's go set up for level 6. Drag this over, drop that into place. So what is expertise? Well, expertise gave us the ability to modify one of our skills here and make it proficient. So what I'm going to do is go to our abilities tab here, click on expertise again just to bring that over here. And at level 6, you can choose 2 more of your proficiencies. So that's essentially what this is telling us. Okay, so let's go back to skills. And what I'm going to do is that and that, because I'm going to get the biggest bonus out of those. So I've chosen acrobatics and sleight of hand, and it's very similar to what I did in the previous video. So level 7. Level 7 is going to give us another feature. Drag that into place. Our hit points have gone up, hit die's gone up. We have not adjusted our sneak attack. So let's do that. We are now at 4d6, so we could have lost out on one whole d6 of damage. This is why you want to go through and double check it. I'm intentionally skipping that in a couple of cases because I want to make sure that it is obvious that you really need to go and take a look at this, because you could be shortchanging yourself on the amount of damage. 3d6, that's still 6 additional hit points you could hit something for. That could be the death of that particular creature. With level 7, we also gained the evasion feature, and it'll pop up under your abilities as usual, so just click on that and open that up. And you're going to want to add it to your actions tab. And the reason is because it is something you'll want to make use of. I'm going to throw that under the rogue group as per usual. But we need to modify this. And the reason I'm saying that is because as this stands, this skill is actually broken. It will not work in this current condition, or at least it hasn't in any game that I've run through thus far. We have to make an adjustment to this particular feature, or ability, if you will. We do that by clicking on anywheres within this particular bounding area, right-click on that, and add an action. When you select that, you'll get this other radial menu, and the one that we want is actually the add effect one. That will drop in this new line here, if you will. You then go through, click on the magnifying glass, and add in evasion. It's to yourself, and we want it to expire on next action. And the reason we want it to expire on the next action is we don't want it to apply to any subsequent rolls or other attacks without you declaring that you're going to make use of that. And that sets up your ability. You can now remove this old feature, if you will, and you do that by right-clicking on the line where it's located and simply remove action and confirm the deletion. And that will set up the skill for actual use. Well, the question is, how does that get used? It's used in a combat situation and generally handled through the combat tracker for the most part. What you'll want to do is at the time that the Dungeon Master has declared an area of attack is being made against you, okay? And it could be the entire party, but if you're within that zone of influence or sphere of influence, you'll want to make sure that you state, I'm going to be using evasion, and then simply click on the evasion effect. That will automatically apply the evasion to yourself. And you can see that here under the combat tracker. You now have an effect called evasion, and that it's going to expire on the next attack. What'll happen now is if I make the attack, for example, or the Dungeon Master makes the attack with their breath weapon. So I didn't target you. Let's try that again. Alrighty. So let's target the assassin. Okay. Now, if I attack that assassin, you'll see that there's a couple of things. One die is rolled, which is the way that this should happen. But you see in the chat box here, you'll see that evasion has come into play, even though it's disappeared from the combat tracker. And it was a successful roll. Well, if I now go through and roll the 18d6 of fire damage here, you'll see that you'll suffer 0 damage. And that's because the evasion skill allowed you to make the save, and because you made the save, you took 0 damage. You were successfully able to completely dodge that breath weapon. What happens if you fail? Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I have the evasion capability added again. I'm going to violate the rules of D&D by attacking the assassin again with the breath weapon. And this time it will be a fail. And that was actually pure luck, actually. We can see here that it is a failure, and we can see that evasion is still in play, even though it is no longer showing up on the combat tracker. Now when the dragon rolls the 18d6 of fire damage, we're probably going to kill... Oh, no, they barely survived. They survived because they took half the amount of damage. I rolled a total of 68 points of damage. Half of that was applied against this particular character. We can see here 34 hit points. Which is nice, because it means that's the difference between life and death. Essentially is what that comes down to. Okay, and that is level 7. Did we adjust? Yes, we did. Okay, so that is level 7. So level 8 gives us our next ability score improvement. And to show you how that works, I will make an adjustment to 2 of our abilities here. I'm going to bring my dexterity up to level 20. And I'm also going to bring the constitution up 1 point to level 15. Now, the reason why I made that change is for the following reason. I want to showcase what that actually means, because generally when you increase the constitution, there's a chance you could potentially gain additional hit points. But in this particular case, I did not, and the reason being is take a look at this particular bonus here. It's still a +2. If I return it to the 14 that it is still a +2. That means I'm not gaining any particular hit points here. But if I were able to apply 2 points to this particular skill and bring it up to 16, you'll see that that would actually increase by 1 additional point. What that means is I can take that 1 point, multiply it by the current level of the character, so in this case level 8, and add those hit points to this total max value. So 59 plus 8 is 67 hit points. And that's literally what that means. Now I'm going to set this back to 15. Because I'm not gaining those hit points yet, I will do that on the next one. Or on the one following, because I do want to showcase a feature as well. Nothing else was gained, though. However, our hit points have gone up, and our total hit die have gone up. Now I'm actually going to just quickly go over here and back out the damage. So if there's any other tests that we can showcase, then that's already there. So the next level will be level 9. I'm going to drop that into place. And at level 9, we gain our next proficiency bonus gain, and we've gained our next sneak attack damage gain. So let's go down to actions, modify sneak attack, bring this up to 5d6. And everything else here has had an adjustment. So our stealth is just getting absolutely insane for its bonus. That is nice. In addition to our sneak attack damage increase and our proficiency bonus gain, we also gained a new feature. What Infiltration expertise gives you is the ability to disguise your character and become essentially an entirely different person or creature. It's not actionable, but it is role playing in the sense of how you make use of it. And your character will spend 7 days and up to 25 gold pieces creating this new persona. That's papers of identification. That is an entirely different wardrobe, if you will, or clothes that you're going to wear, things along those particular lines. You might change your facial structure, whatever. But until the people that you're interacting with start to suspect something, that disguise will apply. So you'll be able to make use of that and be able to infiltrate things in organizations and whatnot. And that makes things very, very useful. As a DM, I'm still going to recommend that you add this to the action page. And you should throw it under your assassin grouping here. And what that will allow you to do as a player gives you the option to say, DM, I'm going to make use of my infiltration expertise and try to work my way into this particular organization so I can get the information I'm looking for. That would be a perfect role-playing scenario for you and a side adventure. If the DM actually asks a question, well, what does that do? You just drag and drop it into place, into the chat window, and then they can open it up and view it. And that completes level 9. So let's move on to level 10. All right. Level 10, we gain our next ability score improvement, and I'm going to make use of a feat in this particular case. And the feature I am going to take is... Where did you go? Skulker. And the reason I've selected this particular feat is it's perfect for a thief or rogue type character. And it will actually help you as an assassin because you lose a disadvantage penalty, if you will, when you're attempting to make perception checks and you're relying on your sight in the dark, or dim light rather, not the dark. In addition, if you miss with a ranged weapon, so ranged weapon in this case would be a short bow, long bow, crossbow, something that actually makes use of proper ammunition. I'm suspecting that daggers, throwing axes, stuff like that do not count. And I'm waiting for confirmation on that, but I have yet to receive confirmation on that. Essentially, what it means is that if you miss while making a ranged attack, the creature that you are shooting does not observe where that shot came from. Therefore, you do not lose your hidden status, if you will. So it's a very powerful feat. This is why some DMs claim that feats are highly overpowered. So I'm going to drag that into place. But at the same time, I'm going to drag it into here and call that a feat. The reason I'm going to drag that into here is for all the other reasons why I've dragged non-actionable skills into this place, is just so that you can make use of it in the chat box to indicate to the DM that you're using it, and then very easily drag it into place if the DM asks what that particular skill does, or feature in this case. And that completes level 10. So let's move on to level 11. Now 11 is going to see an increase in our sneak attack. I'll make that adjustment here. And it is also going to see a new feature dropped into our abilities tab. So that is reliable talent. Here we go. So what reliable talent will do for you is that when you make a skill check or proficiency roll, if you will, on an ability that you're proficient in, if you roll a 9 or lower, you get to automatically say that is a 10. But it's only going to apply to those abilities that you are actually proficient in, and which is a bit of a limitation, but I think it's a viable limitation in this particular case. To set that up, you don't really have to do anything, but to indicate an audit trail, if you will, I would recommend adding it to the Actions tab and grouping it under your Rogue group here, and simply go, oop, I'm using reliable talent. That means I get a 10 for my roll. Really? Okay, yep, here's the skill so that you can view it. That's essentially the exchange that you're going to want to be able to make use of here. Moving along, level 12 will be the next level we acquire. And that is going to give us an additional ability score improvement. And to showcase the hit point change, I'm going to increase my Constitution by 2 points. So right now we have 87 hit points. We are at level 12. We have a Constitution of 15. By adding 2 to that, that brings us up to 17 and gives us a Constitution bonus point of +1 over top of the +2 that we had. What that now means is because there is a difference of a +1 bonus, we can take that +1, multiply it by the 12, and add those 12 hit points here, which brings us up to 99. This sounds like the previous video. Last time I did this, the Constitution went to 99 and something screwed up. But in relation to changes on our character sheet, that is all we have to do. Level 13 will see us gain our next proficiency bonus increase, as well as our next sneak attack damage die. So, make that adjustment. In addition to that, it gives us our next roguish archetype, which should be the Impostor. Yes. Once again, this is a role-playing feature. So I'm just going to drag that into place because we will want to indicate to the DM that it will get used. It'll be under the Assassin grouping. And what this feature allows you to do is, after studying a particular person for a 3-hour period of time, you will be able to unerringly recreate that person's speech, writing, and behavior. Now, in order for you to make use of the ability to do their writing, you will have to study their handwriting. If you are trying to understand their speech or be able to mimic their speech, you have to be able to hear them speak for a 3-hour period. Good luck with that. And in relation to their behavior, again, you have to observe that particular individual for 3 hours, and it probably should be done multiple times over the course of a period to really add convincing capability to that particular mimicking ruse that you're doing. However, if someone does suspect that something is strange or going on and is awry, you still gain advantage on a charisma saving throw or deception saving throw. So if they make a deception saving throw and pass it, well, it's going to fail. But if they actually make a saving throw against deception on your particular ruse, if you will, they have to roll with disadvantage, or you roll with advantage, depending on who has to do the roll. I believe that now sets us up for level 14. Yes, it does. So drop level 14 into place. Level 14 is going to give us a new feature. And that feature is Blind Sense. So let's open this up. What Blind Sense does is it gives you the ability to essentially see or hear creatures that are within 10 feet of you. So Blind Sense kind of indicates that you can't really see, so it's probably an area that's extremely dark. Maybe, for example, a globe of darkness. If they move within 10 feet of you, you are still able to tell where they're located, so you will not suffer a penalty on an attack roll in that particular case. At least that's the way that I would read that. Blind Sense is one of the abilities you're going to want to drop into your Actions tab here, and again, it's for pretty much role-playing purposes, and this is a rogue feature. And literally, it's just to come down to you being able to click it and show that you're going to use it. That way the DM doesn't get caught off guard. But it also means that you cannot be surprised by that particular creature through that particular means. If they are still outside of the 10-foot range, you can still be surprised. But if they move within 10 feet of you and you were able to hear things, theoretically it could be argued that you couldn't be surprised by that particular creature. So that sets us up for level 15. Drop that into place. Level 15 sees our next sneak attack damage point here. Oops. Don't hit enter. But it also gives us another ability called Slippery Mind, or feat called Slippery Mind. When you gained level 15, you also gained Slippery Mind as a feature. And what this allows you to do is to essentially gain a proficiency bonus when making wisdom saving throws. This is not something that you drop into your actions tab. What you do instead is you go to your main tab and you now look for your wisdom bonus, which is here, or saving throw, I should say. All you have to do is click this star. And what that does is it makes that particular saving throw proficient. So you gain a +3 bonus as to a -2 penalty. That's literally all it is. Level 16, we'll see another ability score improvement being applied. And in this case, I'm just going to cheat and just give strength to 13, and intelligence, I'm going to bring that up to an 8. Oops, not an 18, an 8. Okay. Which will put us in line for level 17. Level 17 sees our final proficiency bonus. In addition, we are now at 9d6 in sneak attack damage. I suspect no, I did modify the previous one, so we're now at 9. And that puts us in a position also for our last roguish archetype feature. And that feature is called Death Strike. So we should see that it is now in our abilities tab here. I'm just going to click here just for simplicity and open it up. Death Strike is an attack of sorts. So if you make an attack against a particular creature and you connect with that particular attack, that creature is going to be forced to roll a saving throw. So this is going to be required to be on your actions tab because you, as the player, will be executing that particular saving throw. So, Assassin. Now it's pretty much already set up for you. It's a DC 8 plus your dexterity modifier plus your proficiency bonus attack, which brings it up to a 14. Which sounds about right. So in this case, they will have to succeed on a 14 or higher in order to avoid essentially giving you the ability to double your damage. If they fail, you will get to double your damage. That is nice. So what does doubling damage mean? Well, if you attack, for example, with this particular sword or short bow, you will do 1d6 of damage. It doesn't say you have to roll any additional die. If you roll a 6, add your 5, and then double that. That's all you do. Unfortunately, there is no easy way to actually go through and roll double damage, and I will showcase that for you. So I've set up a combat tracker scenario, and I have an assassin here. I have a couple of bosses here that I can attack. Now, I tried to attack the red dragon a couple of times. It kept making its saving throw, so I've added in this goblin boss, or unlocked this goblin boss in order to actually show it to you. So if I drag this die directly onto the token for the goblin, it will automatically roll a saving throw for that particular goblin based on this particular effect, and they failed. But now if I do the damage, you'll see that it won't double. So it's 5 plus 5 is 10. In theory, that should be 20, is the way that I read that skill. You could essentially just drag and drop the damage onto it twice to double it. That's one way to do it. Makes it a little bit easy. But other than that, there's no real easy way to do double damage through this particular feature or skill. So with that, let's move on to the next level. All right, close out that. We are now going to be going to level 18. Now at level 18, we gain the elusive feature. And we can actually close this because we won't need that anymore. So the elusive feature, that is right here. What this feature allows you to do is essentially null out any advantage gained against you when you aren't incapacitated. So as long as you are technically conscious, any attack roll that is made against you that has advantage is automatically, shall we say, canceled out. And you can easily set this up within the Actions tab. So I'm just going to drag that into place. This is a rogue feature. Scroll down till I find elusive. Now that it is here, I'm going to right-click on that line and add a new action. And we want to make sure that it's an effect. Modify that effect, and we want to do grant dis attack. And what that does is it grants disadvantage to an attack made against you, because that's what we're trying to correct here, if you will. And it's on self and on next action. Now what will happen is if someone has an advantage bonus applied to them, you can simply click on that, apply it to yourself. They will attack and automatically cancel out that advantage gain that they have. And then the effect will just simply go away. And we can display that within the combat tracker. So you can see here that I have the effect in place. On the DM side of things, I'm going to grant the adult red dragon advantage when I actually make an attack against you. And I'm just going to do a standard bite. But you see only one die was actually rolled. And the reason, it's still a 20. Still a critical attack, but in any event, you can see here in the chat box that the effect was in place on the assassin. The actual effect expired, but not before canceling out the advantage roll that I had on the dragon. Essentially, it will allow that particular attack to have had a greater chance of failing. So back to the leveling. Well, we now have 2 levels left. So level 19. This is going to give us our last ability score improvement. And in this case, I'm just going to increase my intelligence up to 10 to null out the negative penalty we were suffering, if you will, when it came to the actual intelligence bonus, because you can now see that we're at a +6 bonus. And all of our skills are also going to benefit from this, even though we're not proficient in... I don't think we're proficient in anything that has intelligence. Nope. And to be honest, I really should have been applying those bonuses here. But, level 19, who cares? You're pretty much going to insta-give anything you attack. We do gain our final sneak attack change, though. And that is now 10d6. And that finishes the changes that we have to do for level 19. Level 20 is where we're going to gain our last feature. So let's apply level 20, our level up. Oops, I didn't apply level 19. Anyway, level 20. Stroke of luck. So let's go to here. Stroke of luck. Okay. So this is a very nice feature. Essentially, if you can now set it up so that when you make an attack and you miss, and that particular target is within range, meaning it's not necessarily limited to just melee weapons, you can turn that miss into a hit. So essentially, if you shoot an arrow at a dragon and its AC is 21 and you rolled a 20, you will still hit. Additionally, if you fail on an ability check, you can automatically treat that roll as a 20. It won't be a critical roll. It will, however, be a success. But this isn't one of those skills that you can use over and over and over again. There is a rest period that is required. So we need to make an adjustment here. So let's add Stroke of Luck to our Actions tab. Let's go with the Rogue grouping, and that'll bring it down to here. And what we want to do is change over to the Preparation mode and modify this so that you can use it 1 and set that to rest. And what that will do is it will set it up so that you have one use of this particular feature until you rest. Regardless of whether it's a short or a long rest, it's just until you rest. If you leave it at daily, you would literally have to do a long rest before you could regain this. So that would be an incorrect setting. And when we switch to combat here, and this actually can be actions, so you can get all your action buttons. When you use it, all you do is you click that little radio button. That will now show the DM that it has been used. And when you actually go and make a rest, all the DM has to do is execute a rest for your particular character. So if I go here, I do a rest, I can make a short rest, and it will return. If I use it again, I can make a long rest, and it will return. So you can see that the feature is working as expected. And at this point, we've essentially completed leveling up this particular character. In fact, we have completed leveling up this particular character. So with that in mind, that is how to level and set up an assassin specialization for the rogue class. And I will see you in the next video. I wish to thank you for taking the time to watch this particular video. I hope you found it informative and useful to familiarizing yourself with Fantasy Grounds in general, and that you had fun in the process. If you found the video useful and you liked the content of the particular video, go ahead and click that like button to let me know. And if you have any questions specific to the topic covered by this particular video, or just have some comments in general, please feel free to post something in the comment section, and I will do my best to respond to any questions that are asked. Additionally, I do release content quite regularly, and it's generally specific to Fantasy Grounds or 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons at this time. So if you'd like to be notified when new videos come out, go ahead and subscribe and click the notification bell to ensure that notification is sent to you when I release a new video.